All right, welcome to part 2 of this week's OTRS Central Twitter Q&A. The topic, the theme, as it should be, is hashtag Roman Reigns. So thanks to you guys that took to Twitter, tweeted your hashtag Roman Reigns question to hashtag OTRS Central, at OTRS Central on Twitter. All right, let's get started. Let's see here, what do we got? Stringmaker 4. Do you like Roman Reigns? Yes, I do. I'm not the only Roman Reigns fan on this show. I'm not quite the fan of Roman Reigns that Summer is. She is a dyed-in-the-wool Roman Reigns fangirl. However, with that said, I am a Roman Reigns fan. Is he one of my favorites necessarily? No. Is he the guy that I'm going to go rushing out to buy a ton of merchandise for? Probably not. But do I like parts of his character? Do I see possibilities and potential there? Yes. But I also see those possibilities and potential there with guys like Bray Wyatt and guys like Dean Ambrose and guys like Cesaro. So I dispute this whole notion that I'm just a muscle mark. I think that is completely and totally ridiculous. And if you maintain that opinion and have that opinion, you're a tool or an idiot or you just don't like them. Probably more of the third one, and that's okay because there are probably plenty of reasons for you to not like me. However, with that said, I'm not going to apologize for being a bit of a fan of Roman Reigns, but he is not my favorite by any stretch of the imagination. I don't even think he's like my favorite muscle guy. That would probably be more Ryback. I'm more into the Ryback character than I would be Roman Reigns' character at this particular time. But again, I want to see big things for Bray Wyatt. I want to see big things for Dean Ambrose, to a lesser degree Seth Rollins. I like Cesaro, and I wish he got more of a push. I'm not just a muscle guy. I'm not just a muscle mark. I like different types of characters, different types of wrestlers, different types of styles, different types of talkers. Some of you could do better off, frankly, in that category. You can like who you like, I guess, but, if you always like everybody that's the same, I think that's kind of dull and boring. And frankly, there are plenty of you, especially the hardcore fans, whether you want to admit it or not, whether you like it or not, you know that's fucking true. So I don't know why you deny it. Because it is true. What's the truth? If we can't be honest about ourselves, what the hell are we really doing? And I'll be honest, I have a tendency to gravitate towards those bigger guys in professional wrestling. That's what I grew up on. But that doesn't mean that that's all that I like either. All right, let's see here. Bryan, do you think Fastlane will be a cop-out for the WWE on Roman Reigns? It could be. It might be. I most certainly hope it is not. Because whether some of these hardcore fans that love Daniel Bryan want to agree with me or not, I don't really care. What I think is what I think. What I think is that you've already made the fucking decision. You must follow through on it. You must go with that decision. You can't allow these people that are just one segment of your audience to dictate everything that you do. And the whole notion at this point about, well, Daniel Bryan is the most over guy on the company, in the company and on the roster, that may or may not be the case. But frankly, looking at the WWE's financials and performance in terms of key categories such as television viewership and live event attendance, what the fuck does that say about Daniel Bryan or anybody else on that damn roster? I'm just, let's keep it real here. I'm just saying. And unlike CM Punk, Daniel Bryan at no point in time, the best of my knowledge, has been anywhere near the threat to John Cena in his reign at the top as the merchandise king of WWE. And Daniel Bryan's an already established top guy. You can always go back to that spot at him at any point in time. We've already gone in this direction, and you most certainly, I don't think, can sit there and really do a David versus Goliath story with Daniel Bryan and Brock Lesnar and have it come across and work really well. I just don't think you can do that. You've got to send Roman Reigns at him. And like I've said so many times, is that I still wouldn't have Roman Reigns win the belt come WrestleMania. I'm this and I'm that, but I'm advocating and been advocating for a while to have Seth Rollins cash in the damn briefcase and walk out of Mania the fucking champion. You would think a lot of people would like that. But goddamn good and well that if Daniel Bryan goes on to Brock Lesnar, even if it's Seth Rollins, it's Daniel Bryan, fuck everything else, that if Daniel Bryan doesn't win, it's going to be a bunch of petulant, whining, crying bitch babies. And that's exactly the truth. Not all Daniel Bryan fans, well, certainly not. Some of the louder, more vocal, loyal ones, absolutely. And to deny that, I think, is foolish. It is, in my opinion. WWE 961, would Roman Reigns work in a different era? If so, which would you say? In my opinion, it might be the Ruthless Aggression era. That would have maybe been a good time where he would have worked. Hogan era, yes, because of his size. He most certainly would have come across as a really credible threat to a Hogan, but he would have had to been on the heel side. I think he would have worked really well then. He may have worked very well, too, in the Crockett territory of the 80s because he had, that type of athleticism for a big guy that would have allowed him to shine. Not sure how well he would have fit in the Attitude Era. I think he would have gotten lost in the mix, frankly. He would have been Test. He might have worked in that New Generation era because he was just naturally big. He's not like a huge towering guy like 7 foot or close to it like Kevin Nash, but he's a bigger guy. So he might have worked well in that era. But Attitude Era, I don't really think so. Let's see here. P. Drisk, 60. Do you think Orton's feud with... that's not a goddamn Roman Reigns question. It was Roman Reigns' theme, damn it. So I'm not answering the question if it's not Roman Reigns' theme. I even put explicit directions on Twitter to say this was a Roman Reigns theme Q&A. So please, when I put out there that this is a certain theme, try to keep with that theme, please, because I like being able to answer your questions, but I want to keep to that certain theme. Let's see here. Vivek _Parashar. Given the circumstances going into the pay-per-view, how would you salvage the Royal Rumble and have Roman Reigns walk out the winner, actually having him do something that makes him stand out? Maybe going all the way to the final 2 and eliminating Bray Wyatt. Also, I would not have brought Daniel Bryan back when they did. I would have saved him for the Raw after the Rumble or even later, maybe all the way to the Raw after WrestleMania. Maybe that's a bit harsh, but I would have tried to have kept Daniel Bryan as far away from that Rumble and Roman Reigns as I possibly could have. That was WWE's big mistake. They created this problem for themselves. They made their bed. Now they have to lie in it, and they have to change things. It's their fault. They did this to themselves by putting themselves in this situation, by bringing Daniel Bryan back the way they did, putting him in this match like they did, knowing damn good and well that history could repeat itself again in 2015, just like it did in 2014. So those would be the 2 biggest things I would have done. I'd have actually had Roman Reigns do something spectacular and actually show, again, that he would have been that guy. Maybe even have him start off, have Bray Wyatt go 1, have Roman Reigns go 2, and have them last the entire motherfucking thing, and both of them just dominate and keep Daniel Bryan as far fucking away as I possibly could have. That would have been my thing. Let's see here. I am Joe Dub. Do you think that there could be another athlete that could come into WWE and have the same success that quickly like Roman? Oh, sure. Especially if the WWE wants to get behind him, if they put him as a part of a good storyline or a good group like they had for a while with the Shield, why couldn't another guy like him get over? There's no question in my mind that that could be the case. J.S. Leather. On Monday night, he seemed to be in the character of a badass. What do you think about that, and what would you change? I wouldn't change much about him being a badass, but I'd have him be a badass all the way. A badass doesn't sit there and kind of give you that whiny, cry, bitch baby face when somebody's throwing obstacles in your way. That badass sits there and says, don't give a fuck. The badass sits there and when they're saying, you have to fight this guy or this guy, we're screwing you over, he laughs. He goes, he sits there stone-faced. He doesn't sit there and go, If you're going to go badass with Roman Reigns, then you go all the way badass. This is not a situation where you can't go full badass because that's just bad. No, you need to go full badass with this guy. You must go full badass with this guy, not half-ass the badass. You got to full-ass the badass. That's just my opinion. So I wouldn't change anything about that except for the fact that I would go and actually have him act like a badass in all capacities, in all ways. Let's see here. And JSL Leather also wants to know if you were part of creative, what would you do next regarding his current storyline? Again, emphasize the badassery. Emphasize the positives, mask the negatives. I wouldn't have him talk much. If he does say anything, make it short, sweet, to the point, and make it impactful. That's what I would do. Let's see here. Diclonius Games, excuse me. If Daniel Bryan did upset Roman at Fastlane, where would you put Roman in on the Mania card? Well, fuck it. If you're going to do that, then why even bother putting him on the fucking WrestleMania card? Seriously. Just ruin the guy. Just fuck him up. Yeah, WWE would probably still put him in the damn title match. Well, then why the fuck do that? So, I most certainly wouldn't have Daniel Bryan beat him. And if they did do that, then why even fucking bother with them? Just bury them. Because you're fucking morons, so you deserve to ruin another potential top star. Bulls_Jaden. Why does Roman Reigns suck so much? It's like he sucks at everything he does. Really? He sucks at everything he does? Seems to make babies okay. Seems to be swole okay. Seems to be making a nice living for himself. So I dispute this whole notion that he sucks at everything he does. I'm just saying. Just because you don't like him doesn't necessarily mean he sucks. You know, like, for example, whether somebody likes him or not, Jeff Jarrett sucks. Because he sucks. Because he's a Memphis mid-card piece of crap. His suctitude has been established, whether people want to acknowledge or admit that or not. That simple. So, this whole notion that he sucks and you don't like him, well, you don't like him, but that doesn't necessarily mean he sucks. He's most certainly not in the Jeff Jarrett category. All right, let's see here. It's Johnny Russo. Who would Roman Reigns feud with first if he wins the title at Mania? If he won the title, it would be Seth Rollins. If he doesn't win the title, it would be Seth Rollins. I think either way, his feud's probably got to be Seth Rollins. At this point in time, that's where I would go with it. Unless you actually had Rusev go over Cena clean at Mania, then it needs to be Rusev versus Reigns at some point in time heading into the summer of 2015. Let's see here. In the Rope Show wants to know, does Roman Reigns need a manager? And if so, who would be a good choice? No, I don't think he needs a manager. I really don't. I think this whole notion that he has to talk or say a lot or have somebody talk for him or say a lot for him isn't necessary. It's not right. Let him just be a badass. Let him be a monster. Why does everybody have to talk? If you had somebody that didn't talk, they would stand out more because they would be different instantly than everybody else who fucking talks and shares their feelings and says stupid corny crap. Reigns doesn't do that. He's not about that. He's not like that. That would be a good thing, not a bad thing. Why draw attention to the fact that the guy really isn't good on the stick at this point in time by giving him a manager and having somebody talk for him? Who cares? Just ignore it entirely. Don't go there. If you do go there, make it count. Make it work. Make it really good. That's all I'm saying. Marky Babar. Would Bryan beating Reigns and going to Mania be a stupid decision? If he wins the title at Mania, what do you do with him then? That's what I think about that personally. I think Bryan beating Reigns would be stupid. And I think him going to Mania and winning the title against Brock and walking out with the title would be stupid. But I also think Roman Reigns going to Mania and winning the title there and walking out the champion is stupid. I have my heart set on the one main event that I've wanted, which is Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, where Seth Rollins cashes in at the end of the night and walks out the champion. That's what I think should happen. I think that's the best for all parties involved, based off of what they've done with Seth Rollins for almost the past year. He deserves that WrestleMania moment, maybe after he beats Randy Orton early on in the night, or even if he loses to Randy Orton earlier in the night, so that way you're setting up something down the road between him and Orton. Either way, I think Rollins has to walk out the champion that night. So I think Daniel Bryan walking out the champion is stupid, and I equally think Roman Reigns walking out the champion would be stupid, in my opinion, based off of the circumstances. All right, let's see here. ENC98 asked the last question. Do you see them changing to Bryan versus Lesnar and Reigns versus Rollins at WrestleMania? No, I don't. I mean, I guess anything is possible, but I just don't see it. And that's why I don't get why they would go there with Daniel Bryan. Because I just don't see at this point why they would do it. I mean, now they're going to drop him from this going all the way down to maybe wrestling Brock or Dolph Ziggler. And if they're going to do anything with Rollins, it'd probably be Randy Orton, because Randy Orton, you would think, has to have a big WrestleMania spot and a big WrestleMania match. So I would assume it's still going to be Reigns versus Lesnar and Orton versus Rollins, and Bryan's going to be toiling somewhere in the curtain jerker with Dolph Ziggler. That's what I envision. So anyways, thanks to you guys for taking part and asking your questions for this hashtag Roman Reigns 2-part Q&A. Reminder again, Friday, the next Q&A will be the Facebook Friday Q&A. That may end up being 2 parts as well. Make sure you go to the OTRS Central channel and check out the video schedule for this month so you can see what videos are coming what day and at what times. So that way you can be prepared, you can be caught up, and you can make sure you catch all the great action here on OTRS Central.